in this event at the World Championships in Stuttgart. Also Sonny McGeorge, winner of the Intercounties cross-country title in Britain, the English Area Championships, that is in effect, just back in January. But up against them, some really world-class athletes. Margareta Keszeg with Romania, very, very strong. A woman with a sprint finish at the age of 29, who is the reigning European indoor champion at this distance. Also Ellie Valhalster at the back of this field as we look at it from above in the orange of Holland, world indoor record holder at this event, 8 minutes 33, her world indoor record. She is also holder of this title in 3 previous occasions, 88, 89 and 90, as well as world indoor champion in 1989. That is when she set the world record. Well, the early leader in this 3,000 meters final for women, 1:39. That was Laurence Vivier of France. But something very special was due to happen in this final. Young Fernanda Ribeiro of Portugal, in second place at this stage, had plans that nobody else knew about. Keszeg in third place, just about where she always sits, ready to use a very, very fast finish. That has proved effective on so many occasions. McGeorge for Britain towards the back of the field at this stage as we go to the pole vault, the shot put for men during the women's 3,000 meters. That's one of the Spanish shot finalists, 1:34, Manuel Martinez, falling out of the circle. The women thunder past. Keszeg moving up into second place at what was a relatively slow early pace being laid out by Laurence Vivier, the 27-year-old French woman. McGeorge towards the back of the field, quite happy with this pace. She's a fast finisher. Alison Wyeth, very experienced, running wide, choosing not to get boxed in this dense situation. Field gathering up as the pace slows down there. At this stage, Ribeiro of Portugal boxed in on the inside in third place, just inside Van Hulst of Holland, who has had so many injury problems in the last 2 or 3 years since she set that world indoor record at the World Indoors in 1989. Also going well is Christina May of Germany. May at this stage, a small blonde-haired woman, back in 5th place on the inside, wearing number 20. 2:25 at 800 meters. Lapping at around 72 seconds per 400 meters. That's around 66 seconds per lap of this circuit, and that's too slow for Ribeiro of Portugal. She pushes to the front, and the rest of the field are at this stage unaware of exactly what lay ahead of them. Ribeiro, though, obviously running to a race plan here. Not the smoothest looking of runners, ahead jogging violently around. Very bouncy stride Ribeiro has. That's Keszeg in second place. Also a very bouncy runner, up on her toes. Latches onto the back of Ribeiro. And the field begins to stretch out now, gradually thinning out from that 3 or 4 abreast situation of a couple of laps ago into single file. Ribeiro, Keszeg, Van Hulst, followed by Wyeth, then May of Germany, Vivier of France going back now into 7th place. And Ribeiro here, determined to make the rest of them work for anything they were going to get from this race. This race following a similar sort of pattern to the World Indoor Championship final last year in Toronto, when Yvonne Murray lifted gold for Britain with a time of 8:50. In that race, who was second? Margareta Keszeg of Romania, lying in second in this race at the moment. Lynn Jennings took the bronze there, but both Keszeg and Jennings more than 12 seconds behind Yvonne Murray in that Toronto World Indoor Championships final. Well, Keszeg determined to hang on to Ribeiro, and as the reigning champion, keen to retain her title. from Genoa 2 years ago, unable to go with this determined acceleration from Ribeiro. The gap beginning to develop there as the Romanian feels the pressure. Wyeth back in third too, beginning to feel uncomfortable. Ribeiro able to check up by looking at the large screen at one end of the stadium as she heads down the back straight, so that now she could look up, and directly in front of her is a large cinema screen in effect, which shows her what's going on behind her. She can see that gap developing between herself and her pursuers and use that information to adjust her race tactics. As she sees that picture, heads into this bend, so she paws on the pace a little bit more, just to ease away from the others still further. And running a very, very canny race indeed is Ribeiro. Doing everything right to stay ahead of the competition and indeed pull further ahead of them. Obviously keen to get away from the fast finishers like Keseg. She's thought out her race very, very thoroughly indeed, as we see one of the Hungarian athletes there. In fact, that was Marina Bastos, a teammate of Ribeiro, who had stepped off the track. 2,000 meters in 5:55, so sub 9-minute pace now. A distinct acceleration by Ribeiro for the last 5 laps, and what a huge gap she's built up. This is middle distance running at its best. Find out how the race is unfolding for 2 or 3 laps, then pull away from the rest in a determined manner to make it a real honest test of strength, speed and stamina. And Ribeiro here making it a test of that, and the test too difficult for the others to pass. Wyeth leading the chasing trio at this stage. Consists of Keseg of Romania in yellow and Brzezinska of Poland in 4th place at the moment. Well, this sort of superb running, reminiscent of great Portuguese athletes of the past. One's mind drifts back to Carlos Lopez, world cross-country champion, 2-time Olympic marathon champion in 1984. Also to the likes of Fernando Mamed, world record holder at 10,000 meters. Albertina Diaz, reigning world cross-country champion from Amorebieta last March in Spain. Portuguese then, with their excellent climate and training facilities, really churning out a host of excellent middle and long distance runners in the 1980s and 1990s. And Ribeiro looks set here to dominate for another few years. This is superb running, the sort of running that will project this young lady right up into world class on the outdoor circuit and possibly into medal winning form at the European Championships in Helsinki. So Ribeiro then takes the bell, knowing full well that the gold is hers. The gap behind her has grown to some enormous 50 or 60 meters or more. Still she pounds round, pouring on the pace down the back straight. No easing off and waving to the crowd for this young lady. Doing it in real style, driving hard to the line to really rub salt into the wounds of her pursuers. Keseg inevitably winning the sprint for second. How many times have we seen that? Brzezinska too coming through for the bronze for Poland as Ribeiro takes the European indoor title for Portugal. And frankly, she looked like she could go on for another 2 or 3 laps.